We have seen geopolitical tensions around the world leading to risk-off sentiment in developing economies. We have seen a jump in oil prices as well. What impact is all of this having on Jamaica?
The impact is significant, primarily in cost of living and inflation. And I suspect, like many other countries around the world, it has led to the frustration of the electorate, even disillusionment. But Jamaica's performance is quite counterintuitive and runs counter to what is happening in the rest of the world. We immediately after the pandemic, our debt rose, but then we managed to bring it back down. Our inflation went up to as high as 11%. I'm happy to say that the last outturn, we're at 5.8. We're within our target band. And for me, the most impressive figure is that our unemployment rate is now at 4.5%. Now, relative to global unemployment rates in other economies, 4.5% may not sound as low as it should be, but relative to what it was, 7 as high as 15% times gone by, at 4.5%, we're almost at full employment.
That positive economic outlook has led to your second credit rating upgrade in a month, right?
Yes.
And you are planning to continue shrinking the debt load, but how does that square with your other priority of also boosting growth?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So the issue is about creating fiscal space. We are being very strategic with our debt. We have a target figure as to what our debt to GDP should look like, but growing the economy reduces your debt ratio. So the more fiscal space we create, the more projects we can support without debt, the more growth we can generate. But the secret to growth, it's not just the access to financing or borrowing for growth. There's a significant element of developing human resources. Because the new industries and enterprises that will come into the economy will rely heavily on the upskilling of our labor force. So we're spending quite a bit of time and effort now in trying to upskill and ensure that we have a labor force that can meet the jobs of the future.
In which sectors are you upscaling, and also what sectors are you prioritizing for investments?
So let's look at logistics. Jamaica, by virtue of a geographic blessing, is central to most of the shipping routes in the region. So logistics is a natural industry for us, and we have started in that area. Services, business process outsourcing and global services, that's another area. And technology, the development of fintech and other applications, that's another area in which Jamaica has an advantage. And so we're investing in those areas, we're investing in STEM to ensure that our population can indeed attract the jobs of the future.
Jamaica has also been the largest recipient of Chinese investments in the Caribbean. How has that experience worked out for you?
China's been very good to Jamaica, and China's been a very good infrastructure development partner. We benefited from Chinese investment and Chinese loans, particularly during the period of time when there was the global recession, 2008 to 2010. And we used that to support the development of infrastructure, particularly our highways. And that has been an economic boom for us. But in terms of our debt profile, Chinese debt is approximately about 4% of Jamaica's overall debt. What we encourage is greater investment from China, and we're seeing that in many areas, particularly in infrastructure, construction particularly.
One of your ministers said that some of those investments and loans came at a time when the U.S. was busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, I think the U.S., there is always the fear of Chinese influence in the region. But a large part of that is the attention the United States pays to its backyard, pays to the countries that are part of its third border.
Do you think the wars that we have ongoing right now are distracting the U.S. focus from the region?
And I think that the United States has great bandwidth. I think it has to be if it's a global superpower. So it's really a matter of where it sees its strategic interest and how it sees its third border, the Caribbean, as strategic in its global perspective. I think not enough attention is being paid to the region.
Do you expect to benefit, though, from nearshoring efforts?
Nearshoring is great. It's a great potential and a great strategic way for the United States to support and accelerate the development of the region. I've seen that there are certain initiatives going through the Congress now, and there are certain members of your Congress who are interested in this. And so, yes, definitely, this is something that I think would be good, nearshoring.
And what industries or what projects are we talking about here with Jamaica?
Well, nearshoring, you're looking at global services. It could be the production of support for your industries here. Logistics is another important part. Technology. I think in every area where the U.S. economy would require, whether it is raw material, human resource supports, all of that can be nearshored.
Climate change, of course, is a huge challenge for island nations like Jamaica. How are you preparing?
Well, firstly, we have integrated climate thinking in everything that we do. In terms of our financing and managing of the public finances, we recognize that a climate event, which is not within our control, could devastate our economy and has indeed wiped out several economies in the region. And therefore, we have to budget for that. We have to prepare for that. We have to put buffers in our budget. And so in terms of the fiscal management, climate considerations are a part of our fiscal management. So we have taken out a catastrophe bond recently, which is kind of like an insurance, that if there were to be a major climate event, that we would have access readily to financing to recover and grow as a result of that. But in terms of building out the infrastructure, the resilience part, very important. The infrastructure that we're now building, we're building it with climate-proof strategies. We're making sure that our roads, we're moving them inland to higher terrain. We're building them with the necessary civil works and support, that if there were to be a 100-year event, that those infrastructure would continue to be able to offer service to the public.
Many talk about rich nations having to do more, especially when it comes to issues like climate justice.
Yes, climate change is a social justice issue. The truth is, since the Industrial Revolution, we've been creating wealth by using fossil fuels. The countries that have benefited from that significantly are in a better position to withstand the impact of climate change, whilst countries like Jamaica, who did not pollute to create wealth, or is not a significant polluter to create wealth and significant contributor to climate change, we are least able to withstand the impacts of climate change. So there is a justice issue there, that rich countries ought to support developed countries in ways to ensure that we all can survive on this planet.